everyone, and welcome to episode number 2 of my audio journal. We are all the way into 2020 now, and it looks like it's going to be a good year. I've got some good prospects ahead. I'm excited. I'm going to talk about a few things that I am looking forward to in 2020. I'm going to do something new that I want to integrate into the audio journal called Question of the Week. And I'll be asking for your feedback on next week's episode. I want to catch up a little bit on just the past week and some of the things I've been doing. I just posted my latest performance video. It's a funky version of the classic George Benson tune, This Masquerade. And I had a lot of fun on this one because I'm laying down the funk on my U-bass and then doing some soloing and melodic work here on my 6th string. And it's a fun tune, and funny enough, it's not one that I've played a whole lot in my live career, so it was kind of fun to dig into it and lay it down. So I hope you can check it out. You can find it on my YouTube channel. I also, in the past couple weeks actually, did a recording session for my next album, which I'll be talking about very soon, where I recorded 5 songs with a wonderful group of musicians, Amanda Adelman on piano and Ben Laufer on drums, and I had my friend Ryan Shaw on behind the board doing the recording, and it went so good. I'm really thrilled at the way Amanda and Ben interpret my music. It felt so good to play. The session actually went pretty quick because the tunes just felt so good. The recording came out really great, and it's going to be a part of a bigger project that is going to be hitting in 2020. I'm really excited about it, and I'll talk about it in a minute. It's hard for me not to just jump right into it right now, but it's going to be some good stuff. So that was really fun. I posted some pictures from the session on Facebook and Instagram this week too. So go check that out on my social feeds and you can see us in action. And I shot some video during the session and stuff too, so maybe I'll put up some other behind the scenes stuff in the near future. I also wanted to let everyone know that I will have my next live stream in a couple of days, this Saturday. I'm really enjoying doing the live streams, and I've got a nice lineup for music to play for you in this next live stream. So please tune in and check that out. One of the big things I really want to talk about today is my plans and the things I'm excited about in 2020. Last week, I looked back a little bit on 2019 and talked about some of the things that made it a pivotal year for me. It was the year I really started a new chapter of my musical career, and that's where the EP came out and all sorts of things. But 2020 is going to be even more exciting. I'm really looking at 2020 as an opportunity to get back to the basics with my music and really connect with the reason why I do music in the first place. Now, I'm going to have to do a whole audio journal about my why, because I think that's really important for all musicians to really consider that. But a big part of my why is connecting with other people. I think music is a universal medium that really allows us to get past whatever there is out there in society and just connect as human beings. And that's a big focus for me in 2020. And I'm going to be doing a lot of things to make that happen. The first thing that I'm really excited about, I hinted at this a minute ago, is the release of my new album. Now, we've done 2 recording sessions for this. I've got about 9 songs recorded, and I'm actually going to record a few more solo bass pieces to round out the album. And this one is a connection for me because this is an album that's going to be titled Petaluma Scenes. For those of you who have been following for a while might know that Petaluma is the town that I live in, and it's a very special place that it's where I've started my family. I've raised my children. My wife and I have built a life here, and it's a very important thing to me. So the album is really very personal to me and a real reflection of my life. Every song on the album represents a different place in Petaluma. So I've kind of thought about the different areas of the town that played a big part in my life, and I tried to represent that in music. It came out so good. I'm so excited about it. And, I'm just as excited to share the music with you as I am to share some of the stories about these different places. I'm really looking forward to, as we move closer to the release of the album, to tell you some of these stories, show you some pictures, maybe do some video walkthroughs of some of these places, and hopefully even connect with some of the people that make doing music here in Petaluma a very special thing. We have a small town. It's not, I'm not in New York City, Los Angeles, anything like that. We're in small town Petaluma, but like I like to say, there's no town like P-Town. So this has been a really great project that has not only meant a lot to me, but has really connected me to the surroundings around me. So I'm really looking forward to that. You'll hear the whole album in August. I'm actually going to release it right around my 50th birthday. So it's going to be a big bash for sure. And as we move closer to that, I'll be sharing a lot more of those things with you. The other thing, one of the other things that I'm excited about is digging more into solo bass. I mentioned I was going to record a few solo bass pieces for the album, and I'm going to really push myself on this instrument even more. This is something that I've admired a lot in players and something that I've toyed with here and there. I've worked on techniques. I have thought about how I would approach it, and I've learned some solo pieces. Now I think it's time that I really want to formalize it, and I see it as a really unique challenge. The bass itself is an interesting instrument because as bassists, we spend so much time in the low end laying down the groove, and I love that. I could do that all day long. But it's a nice opportunity to go up and play some melody, play some harmony, and mix it all together. That's a unique challenge. And I'm looking forward to that challenge. And I'm looking forward to connecting with other bass players about this, because there's so many different ways to do solo bass. And there's so many great players out there that do solo bass that I'd really like to reach into the bass community and have some conversations about this. Sure, about the things that I'm playing, but also the things that other people are playing. And that would be super cool to do like some collaborations, right? Some bass duets, take it to the next level. I don't know, the possibilities are endless. So I am very excited about that. The audio journal here is another thing that I'm excited about. I was honestly a little surprised with so much great feedback from the first episode, the messages and whatnot. I always think of myself as a player, and the idea of just sitting here talking about music maybe seems a little bit out of my comfort zone. So I was so excited to hear people really want to get into the nitty-gritty of what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to have some fun with it. and I'm going to talk to people about it. And hopefully it'll be a communication starter where you can tell me your thoughts on some of the things I'm talking about. Agree with me, disagree with me, but let's talk. That's why I'm doing this, and I think that is such a cool opportunity. On the same token, I'm trying to do regular live streams in 2020. I've got one coming up this week, as I mentioned at the top, and I have been really surprised at how much I enjoy this. I'm gonna be honest, it's a little weird to stand here by myself and do the whole performance into a cell phone. There's not that same sort of energy in the room that you get when you're playing in front of an audience of people. But it's really exciting when I see all the people pop up, people message and say hi while I'm performing. And it's always super exciting when those people, I recognize the names because they've interacted with different comments and whatnot on posts that I have on Facebook. So it feels like a real connection. And I encourage you to check one out, pop on, say hi, let me say hi to you, start a conversation, and check out some music and let me know what you think. I'm thinking that hopefully I'm going for a weekly live stream. I think that would be a good goal for me. And I think I've said it a bunch at this point, but in 2020, I'm just so excited to meet and connect with more people who are into the same music that I'm into, bass players, not bass players, people who love jazz, people who hate jazz, people who just want to make a human connection through music. That's what I'm looking for, and I hope that I can meet you. But enough about me. I was thinking that it would be really fun to mix things up at one point during the show and do something I'm going to call Question of the Week. I spend a lot of time, maybe too much time sometimes, on my instrument and really just focused in on music and artistry and doing all that great stuff. And don't get me wrong, that's super important, and I feel that the time spent is time well spent, but it's really important to look at things from different perspectives and get different sorts of inspiration based on other things. So the question of the week, every week I'm going to ask something that may bring in a different aspect of the things that I enjoy doing, and hopefully hear from you some responses to the same question so we can kind of talk about and have some fun with it. So the question I want to answer this week is, if you could connect with anyone, what 3 people would you have dinner with? I had to think about that because right off the bat, I've got a list of 20 or 30, right? I mean, I think about all my musical heroes and all my extra musical heroes, and right away. So I really had to put some thought into it and say, 3 people. Wow, who is that going to be? Now, you might think that I might list off a bunch of bass players or musicians, and that was tempting. I've got a lot of heroes. But I mixed it up and really thought, what would a good dinner party be? And the first person that I thought would be really fun to invite would be Mark Hamill. Now, some of you may or may not know, but I am a huge Star Wars fan. 7-year-old me saw A New Hope for the first time and was hooked. And it's been a lifelong journey. Now, Mark Hamill's been a part of that through the whole time. Luke Skywalker, right? And I have always loved the character. But more than that, I think that Mark seems like a really good person. He seems like a funny guy. He seems like someone who really cares about humanity. And someone who is also willing to talk about all those Star Wars insider moments that I'd love to talk about, but lightheartedly and have some fun with that. And I've always respected that. If you want to listen to or if you want to like get a great perspective, you've got to follow Mark Hamill on Twitter. Oh my God, he's absolutely the best. Absolutely my favorite person on Twitter. And he's got a strong voice on politics. He has a great sense of humor, and he connects with people. I admire it a lot. The second person I'd want at my dinner party would be none other than one of my musical heroes, Chick Corea. Chick has been an extremely influential person for me for many years. Musically, the electric band in the 90s just sent me on the trajectory to where I am today. I followed up with the acoustic band and all that work with John Patitucci on bass and Dave Weckl on drums. Just really showed me a new side of music. And so ever since then, I have been following Chick's music very closely. And he's just such a creative individual. And a fun guy too. If you ever get to see him in concert, you might expect the very serious and stoic musician. That's not Chick Corea. He likes to have fun with the music, and he likes to share that with the audience, which I think is really special. And I was lucky enough to meet Chick this past summer and just talk to him briefly. And it was amazing because there were so many people there wanting to talk to him, but he was just so present in the moment, having a conversation with me, that it felt like I was the only person there. And I thought that was really cool of him to do, and to take the time to talk to me like that. So I'd love to have him at my dinner party. And the last person that I think would be really fun to have there is the late Jim Henson. Now, the Muppets have been a part of my life since I was really young, in lots of different ways. Sunday nights, Channel 4, The Muppet Show at 7 o'clock was a highlight of my week. All of the fun music, the sense of humor, and the straight up absurdity that they brought to the screen was just so fun. And it seemed like Jim Henson had this amazing concept of just being outside the box, but in a very relatable way. I thought that was really neat. And hey, you want to talk about a very cool contribution to humanity? Let's talk Sesame Street for a minute. I know that Sesame Street is for little kids, but I watched it growing up. My children watched it growing up, and it is really special. It makes education fun, and that it celebrates the arts in amazing ways. The fact that you'll see everyone from Wynton Marsalis to Lin-Manuel Miranda to Tito Puente to Yo-Yo Ma to someone like Lady Gaga, you name it, all these different perspectives on the arts are showing up on Sesame Street. And how cool is that? Just to integrate that at a very young age for young people. Jim Henson not only had a great sense of humor, was a great entertainer, but he cared about human beings in a very deep way. So I would love to have some time to talk to him about that and see that. So there it would be. It would be me, Mark Hamill, Chick Corea, and Jim Henson sitting around a table. What would we be eating? I don't know. I'd have to think of what would I serve those three guys. That would be pretty tough, but super fun. So I would love it if you tell me who you would have at your table if you could have any three people. I'm thinking next week that I could share some of your responses and then move on to my next question. So if you want to leave it in the comments below, you want to send me a message, tweet at me, whatever it is, let me know who your three people would be and why. And I would love to kind of share that with our community. So thanks for hanging out with me again this week. I really enjoy just being able to talk through these things and hear about it. Now, next week, I'm going to dig into a topic that is like a cornerstone of my life. I don't know if you can see the bags under my eyes, but after 2 weeks of vacation, I went back to work this week and started teaching again. And the thing that always hits me when I start working is the idea of balance. I have a lot of important things in my life. Yes, my work is important and brings in an income for me. My family is even more important than that. And then I have my music that I create as well. So how do you find time for all three and prioritize? It's been the question of my life. So I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit and put some thoughts out. So if you've got ideas about how you balance music, work, family, and all the things, let me know, because help me out here. I'm always trying to find new ways to give everything its fair due. And I think we'd all appreciate hearing that. So send me a message and let me know. And next week, we will dig in deeply. So thank you for hanging out with me again, everybody. I hope to see you in the live stream this weekend. And otherwise, I will be talking to you next week in Audio Journal number 3.